Introduced right now Dino Hadzic from Australian Electric Vehicles and the Path Forward. Thank you.
Hello. So I'll be doing a bit of a presentation on the current state of electric vehicles in Australia and, you know, what can we see in the future. So, you know, a bit about the world we live in now, and then we'll go into the past, the present, and the future. So this is the image we see of current cities and in the front of our minds when we think of high pollution cars. But in my eyes, I see two issues with this. It's not just the smog, but it's also the congestion. And I'm going to be a bit more positive about electric vehicles, and I think Australia has gone a long way in it. So here's some images of trams from the 50s and 60s, and this is how far Australia dates back with electric vehicles, and we've been quite progressive in this area. And then you go to the big brother of the trams and you see the trains that connect towns and cities. And that allows for mass transport of passengers. So if we look at some images, here is what 200 people in 177 cars look like. And you can now see in the next image how much of that is actual just metal is using up the space. And on the third image we can see on the bikes. Very less dense and allows for more movement. But the difference between even the bikes and the transport is now this is what they look like on one light rail train. And this is exactly where Australia has been quite progressive and moved forward, and the government does get involved in creating these more accessible opportunities for transport. But now I'll move into the present, and this is where we're changing combustion engines to electric engines. In the next slide, I like to consider kind of the evolution of how it's all come about. So as you can see, in 2010 and 2012 are the two charging standards when they were founded, and that makes the basis for the DC fast charging. And then as you can see, it wasn't until 2014 that the network started to develop, so we're not really that far behind as they were in the pilot stages as we are now. And you know, and through these development of standards and infrastructure, it has led us to our first e-buses. So I've got a presentation video on that.
Cities are growing and become more conscious of pollution and energy efficiency. Therefore, more and more cities require electric buses, bringing significant reductions in emissions and noise and improving energy efficiency. Buses charge overnight at the depot to start the day with a full battery. The bus has sufficient energy on board to complete the line multiple times without charging. To extend the range, the bus charges during the layover time that often exists at the end points of the route where it has to wait a few minutes. This is called opportunity charging. As the battery is recharged during the day, it can be a lot smaller, saving cost and weight on the bus. For the same reason, the pantograph is mounted on the infrastructure and not on the bus. As a result, the bus can carry more passengers, which is what it's all about. When the bus arrives at the charger, an automated connection is made and charging starts. The system is based on open IEC charging standards to ensure safety and compatibility with all bus brands. After 3 to 6 minutes, the bus has sufficient energy to continue operation. ABB can deliver complete projects, including charge pole, power cabinets and transformers, and substations. The system is modular and can be upgraded to increase charging power. The Global Network Operations Centre of ABB monitors and manages thousands of DC fast chargers worldwide. Our connectivity solutions help customers...
I'll cut that bit out, I don't think that's of too much value. And then we can look then into what we have coming in the future, and these are a bit far-fetched ideas, but it's good to see where our imagination can take us. So, first of all, there's the Solar Impulse, which was a solar-powered plane that made a trip around the world. Holds the world record for the longest flight since it didn't need fuel. And I've got a video on that I'll take you through that. And also, earlier in the year and last year, I was part of a team, Big Hyper, that participated in a SpaceX Hyperloop competition where we got to travel to America and test the pod. And you know, it's quite interesting seeing the new technology being developed. You know, it was all electric. Had eddy current brakes for the brakes and a linear induction motor, which is quite interesting to see how it works, because normally you have your motor with a rotor and a squirrel cage around it, except it was just flat, and the rotor was the tracks and the cage was the pod itself, and it was quite interesting to see it all work. We were actually we were happy with getting an honorary mention for our innovative technology. So I'll take you now to the Solar Impulse.
Achieving the first solar flight around the world. This is the story of two men. Bertrand Piccard, psychiatrist and explorer, and André Boschberg, engineer and entrepreneur. A team driven by a vision of the future and a passion for innovation. And the first airplane of perpetual endurance, able to fly day and night without fuel. Together with their partners, they wanted to show the power of pioneering spirit and clean technologies to bring solutions for a better world. Solar Impulse, the adventure showing that change is possible.
Because you simulate, you calculate, you imagine, but there is nothing like testing and doing it in real. We deeply believe that we can achieve impossible and incredible things with renewable energies, like flying around the world with no fuel. And if this works, of course, everybody can do it on the ground to make a cleaner world. And this can be your way to be with us in the plane.
And this was a scene in Abu Dhabi early this Monday.
Ultralight planes powered only by the sun's rays.
Between March and July 20...
So you can all finish watching. I don't want to drag this video out. You know, it's on YouTube, you can see it. But the image I'm trying to show that, you know, we've done a lot so far, but it's also just the beginning of what future opportunities we have with electric vehicles. Now, I had a slide for questions, but I'm going to end the presentation there because questions will be at the end.
Yeah, they will be.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dino. Yeah, questions at the end. We've got a couple of minutes up our sleeve, so we'll just launch into the next one. We might get some of those extra questions that are really valuable.